The Critshow contains elements of horror, fantasy violence, and adult language. Content warnings can be found in the episode description.
God. She puts on the sunglasses and all of a sudden...
Her vibe just totally changes.
Yeah.
It's like I don't even know you anymore.
I'm so cool and definitely not in pain.
That's what I say every day. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Critshow, where we are playing Make Pretend as the Clockwinders.
It sounded like you forgot who we were.
I forgot which one I said first, and they both start with a hard C, so it's extra confusing.
We're the Clock Show with the Critwinders.
Ugh, I'll give you a crit winder.
Oh, God.
I don't know if that was a threat or a sexual promise.
Or a promise.
Either way, I'm terrified.
Last time, our heroes figured out the way into the movement core. In the Tower at the Dawn Palace, they got it repaired, which fired up the rail line, had a short conversation with Chief Forbin and groundskeeper Hector Hulano, and got all kitted out and ready to go. Hopped on the train, and away we are, on our way to another movement core trying to save the world. So, for any of you who had taken stress at any point, you can clear your stress. Stress goes away right at the end of the scene where you earned it, just like when you have a second for whatever was causing you stress to not be causing you stress anymore. Any fleeting conditions you might have taken, same deal. Those are just kind of gone when you get to catch your breath. All of the conditions, it's nice because since they have an adjective saying like what they're doing to you, they also have a pretty clear narrative indicator of when that's not relevant anymore. You know, if you had to mark angry and you've had a second to cool down, cool, you're not angry anymore. Clear it. If you had any of the sticky conditions, those are exhausted or hungry. Once you have had an opportunity to, again, resolve whatever that adjective is, you can clear those. So a little bit longer than catching your breath, but like if you got the chance to eat a snack, you could clear hungry. And then I know at least Megan had a lasting condition, correct?
Yeah, I'm hella discouraged.
So lasting conditions are interesting. They have two boxes next to them. You check both of them when you take it. When you start recovery, you erase one of those, and then an entire session has to happen in between before you can clear the other one. So they are similarly like narratively driven. Whenever you have an opportunity in the story to say, you know, oh, I've taken discouraged, I'm going to take this minute and start like reading back through my journal of like cool things we've done and trying to remind myself that we're good at what we do or whatever. That would be your opportunity to erase the first box. And then no matter when that happens, a whole session's got to happen in between before you can erase the second box. You have successfully cleared the condition. So just keep eyes out when you have conditions for narrative opportunities, openings that you could say, oh, this would be a good time for me to do a thing that would fix this thing.
So like a lasting condition always takes a session and some change to fully get rid of.
Correct.
And erasing that first box just denotes that like you're in the process of clearing that, but even though one of those boxes is unchecked, you can't check that condition again until both are clear.
Correct. Yeah, even though they have, so you know, the fleeting conditions are like ones, the sticky conditions are twos, and the lasting conditions are fours. Even though they have two boxes with a 4 in them, it's just a total of 4. The two boxes are just there to indicate that it's a two-phase clear process. But if you still have one of them filled, you don't have like 4 stress to soak with the condition. Not really. You need to have both of them cleared, and then you have your 4 stress available to soak with the condition.
You're technically still discouraged until both boxes are cleared.
Correct.
You can't become rediscouraged or half discouraged.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not like a, oh, all right, I was 4 discouraged and now I'm 4 more discouraged and I've cleared 4 discouraged, but I've got 4 discouraged available. It's just, no, it's as if you had 1 box. There's only 2 to help you track
I
it.
smell toast after that.
And then for any of you who had spent any of your refresh, again, at the top of each session, take points equal to your refresh again. So I think all of you got 3. You can all have 3 fate points in hand here. So we find you guys on your train car departing the Dawn Palace. This voyage starts out underground, leads a little ways outside of the city before the sun starts to shine on you again as the tracks emerge into just the wildlands beyond Sun's Edge. Who is I was going to say steering. You don't really steer a train, but who's operating the vehicle?
Yes.
I had a hypothesis that it might be you.
How?
Great question. So what you know so far, or what we know so far, is that they are powered by the movement core at the Dawn Palace. That is what fires up the rails. And that it's sort of like a sort of mediocre, inelegant, single train car. It's got places to sleep, places to eat. Beyond that, what do you think is involved in operating this thing?
I kind of feel like it might just be as simple as a lever. I want it to be complicated. It's probably not. It's probably like a lever that is lean it forward to go forward, in the middle to stop, backwards to backtrack.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it can absolutely just be that simple.
I feel like it would have to be for clockwinders to operate it, but to build this would be so
throwing
tricky.
mad shade at the clockwinders right now. It can't be more than 1 lever if the clockwinders could do it.
I'm imagining that Kade is doing messing with the lever, but he's also arbitrarily pushing things that look like buttons to make it look way more complicated.
Well, I know that they sent people out here as a punishment for a while, and
that's fair. Yeah.
And if you have to write down instructions, then it's just not going to work out.
This bit is getting out of hand. We are really establishing that there's no written shit in this whole world hardcore. To clarify, that's not explicitly true. We're just goofing on how many open details are left throughout this scenario.
Yeah. We have books. We've got some stuff written down, but the stuff that's not written down isn't because we can't write things down. That's why isn't this written down? Yeah. That's a mystery.
It's just the mystery. It's all part of the beautiful mystery.
Yeah.
Of life.
Mm.
I could even see that a lever make it go. There might be more to it that is just not of concern right now.
Sure.
We could kind of leave a door open here that if there needs to be more to it, or you want it to do something else or whatever, maybe it possesses that capability. But right now it's just needs to go in a straight line. So the lever do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if there's something on here that will trigger things ahead to switch tracks and stuff, so that oh, I'm coming up to whatever exchange, so I want to go left instead of right, east instead of west, whatever. And so there's something in there to trigger a switch ahead of you as you approach.
We all just have to get to one side and slam against the wall.
We've got Smee hooked up to the front and he's just pulling it like a horse.
It was just a coincidence that right when you fired up the movement core, that was when Smee got in his harness and started walking the train.
He gets into it like an R2 droid and then into a ship, just
but all of his little legs come out the bottom and just run you.
Oh, our own Charles the Choo-Choo.
Oh, no.
On the subject, though, of navigation, where do we think that we're headed first?
Okay, so I have got the map that Hector gave us spread out on a table. I think I've kind of got the corners weighted down as we move along the tracks. And just looking at the different locations that are circled where all of the movement cores are. Okay, we've got the Dawn Palace taken care of, and then there's these 5 other ones. So the Aether Swamps are the closest, Halogi Forges, for Utrecht Ruins, Carcadia Freehold, and the Cloudgate Mountains. Where do we think we want to head first? Carcadia Freehold is the most kind of well-established and city location, but the Aether Swamps are pretty close.
Yes, I mean, I think this is a matter of time management, isn't it? I think we should likely go for whatever's the closest and just knock them off one at a time in that way.
Is there any indication on that map of if there isn't track? Is track on that map?
There's track on that map.
The map does show you where the rail lines are, or at least used to be, but it's not especially modern. So if anything has changed about that, I think we talked about that very briefly too. some of these lines might be blocked by something. Some of them might. There might be another branch of the rail you could use to swing around and bypass an obstruction. But yeah, I mean, none of the clockwinders have been out doing this shit for a while, so the fate of the tracks is kind of unknown.
It's hard to say what condition they're in, but at least the one by the swamp should get us fairly close. We'd still have to track down where it is, though.
I've been to the edges of that swamp, not very particularly deep inside, but at least around enough to get a lay of the land. If we get close, I might be able to get us in.
Yeah, my only concern was if the track didn't go there, then it might be best to take the track to the end and work our way back. But if it seems like it goes everywhere, at least barring broken parts of it or obstructions, yeah, let's go closest.
Yes, I'm a fan of the speed that we're making here, but Kade, my darling, is there a way to do something about the sway of this vessel?
Not really. I don't have a whole lot of control. I mean, I'm sure I could maybe, I don't know, make some training wheels for the side.
All right, well.
Oh, Einon, you don't look too good.
Why? What's the Oh.
It's just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right.
Oh, Kade, get that bucket.
Oh, no, out the window.
No, I'm fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
You go lean your head out the back door.
No, I've got it.
I'll swallow it.
The gentleman swallows.
I'll keep it in. Oh, Jesus. Fucking hell.
His vomit in front of polite company.
Sure.
It's what?
You're the nasty ones. Get your minds out of the gutter. Stop it.
Nope, I'm maintaining. I'm fine. It's fine. It's all fine.
All right, so heading for the movement core that is in the Aether Swamps.
Yeah.
Perfect. There is the rail from the Dawn Palace. It'll beeline you straight there. The Aether Swamps are a pretty enormous stretch of land. They extend almost the entire width of the belt. And it's like a biome. It's kind of sporadic. By and large, it's unoccupied. Although there are some people who want to stay away from civilization, who have made some towns and villages in the trees or in the stabler parts of the swamp. There are some fae that occupy out here, again, just to stay away from human civilization. But overall, this is the wilds. Is there anything that any of you want to be doing on the train ride? From the Dawn Palace just to the edge of the swamp is going to be a matter of hours, 6 hours. And I think, as you are moving, it is getting a little bit darker very slowly, but that's just because you're moving further away from the sunward side. The sun, you're not rotating. There is not going to be a night cycle here.
Yeah.
It starts to get a little darker. None of us have ever moved this fast before. We all start freaking out. What's happening?
But yeah, you are moving in the twilight direction, which is my fan fiction. So it'll be a matter of 6 hours before you're getting to the edges of the swamp. Is there anything you guys want to be doing on the voyage?
Yeah, absolutely. I am going through all of the books that I packed up and brought with. I'd like to start recovery on my lasting condition. Took some heavy damage during that last fight, marked discouraged, and I think I'm just trying to reassure myself and prepare for what's coming ahead.
Okay. So you can erase the first box of discouraged, and then we'll get through the next session in its entirety, and then you will be no longer discouraged. And hopefully nothing else goes horribly wrong in between that would make you any other problems.
I got two things I'd like to do. One, I'd like to just clean Smee, having seen the condition that thing was in.
Yeah.
And it's I think I do it every day anyway, but it reminds me to man, this could go bad for him if things were not upkept. And then I'm gonna take a nap.
Okay. In that order?
Yeah.
Cool. Where does Smee take up residence on this train? He ain't small.
He's not small. Probably half of my bed.
Your bed is 2 Smees big?
Well, it's a third bigger than a Smee.
Okay.
He like takes up the room in my bed, like your dog takes up room in your bed.
Yeah. Kade gets the Alaskan King mattress, and then you guys get like the twin bunks.
It's mostly for Smee though, because he has to sleep with his legs splayed out.
When he shuts down, that's
Yeah.
just what happens. You can't stop it.
But yeah, so that I can clear my exhausted track.
Perfect.
How does everybody sleep in this world? Like, no nighttime, no daytime. Like, is everybody 8 hours a day? Or are you taking power naps?
I think power naps is the way to go. Also, just kind of depending on which side of the belt you live on, you know? Like, if we're all in this, like, crepuscular twilight state of light zone all the
Good
time.
Word.
Yeah, thank you.
It's pronounced caterpillar, but that's it was close. It was close.
But I like not having the light cycle to kind of make you feel like, oh, these are productive hours. I imagine, yeah, it's just kind of power naps and then utilizing your time to get stuff done and then regulating your body by sleeping as much as you need to, just not all at once.
Ah, God, I would love that.
I'd never wake up is the problem.
Yeah. Just sleep all the time.
Yeah, especially if there wasn't like, nowadays when I wake up, I'll like open my eyes and I'll see kind of how much light is peeking in through the curtains. And that gives me an idea of like, I should probably be up by now.
Mm-hmm.
But if that wasn't even like a cue for me, I'd never fucking know when to wake up. Like I'd always just wake up. I'd always see the same amount of light or lack thereof. And I would go back to sleep.
And then you just have a clock that only tells you the hour, not how many of them.
That's what you need is like a clock that you start a timer on. And then when you wake up, you can see how long you've slept. And that's all that matters.
It doesn't matter when it started or when it ends. It's just what the duration was.
Yeah, that's basically this world.
That also sounds like torture because I'd still be fucking tired and it'd say like 11 hours. And I'd be like, I can't stay here, but I don't want to get up. But like, I don't have like a job that starts at 6 a.m. or whatever.
I like to save up my 40 hours just all towards the end.
All at once.
See, that's what I'm doing.
Okay, so I mean, I don't think you need to roll anything for Smee. Like, he didn't take any conditions. You're clearing your conditions. Like, I don't think there's any mechanical repercussion here. So just narratively, you take your time to tend to him. You take your nap. You can clear your exhausted condition.
Okay.
I think to try to focus on anything other than the sway of this train car, I am just getting out my gear and checking the state of my arrows, making sure everything is in good order, oiling my bow, the cogs thereon, and so on, just trying to focus on my stuff.
I imagine that you're like set up at the the booth, like a seat on either side of a little table, and you've got all the parts, and just your arrowheads are slowly bouncing towards the edge as the train rattles, just constantly having to collect them and keep them where they belong.
Is anyone else picturing the interior of this like a motorhome?
Yeah, kind of.
I hadn't been, but now I am.
Yeah, this is your guys' RV.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. And they just hear an intermittent, but I maintain.
Okay. And I mean, the windows are like school bus windows. Like you can pop the top half down and just get your head right out there.
You're like, I maintain. He's like, we'll find out.
We'll see about that.
Give me a roll.
As soon as something conflicting comes up, we'll find out. All right. So you guys settle in for this journey, taking care of your various chores and or naps. And the hours go by. You pass by some of the smaller settlements that are, outside of the city, little towns and villages off in the distance. And you start to see like a tree line approaching on the horizon that you know to be the swamps. As that tree line looms, Kade, I think your suspicions are confirmed. You guys do notice, like looking out the windows, the tracks are starting to become a little questionable. The swamps have started to claim some of the track out here. There are stretches where they are a little bit underwater, a little bit overgrown, that like as you're coming in at the edge aren't trouble, but it looks like you're not going to be able to traverse these by train. At some point, you're probably going to have to make the call on whether to stop and leave it here or like risk it going under.
At this point in our travel, have we hit like a junction point?
Yes, there have been opportunities to branch off in other directions. So, like, not all train travel is going to be obstructed by these swamps,
Sure.
but your access to this movement core and some of the quickest ways to other places is hindered by the swamp.
Yeah, I will slow it down and then put it into stop. I'm not sure we should take it much further than this. There's some places we've passed where we could have gone a different direction, but it's starting to get deep, and these are actually starting to get a little warped.
Well, according to this map, if we backtrack and take any of the other paths, it's going to carry us away from the swamps. I don't think we should take those paths.
No, I'm just saying I think we got to go on foot if we want to keep this thing safe so we can take those other paths later.
Damnable shame. Can't be helped. Guess we'll have to take our leave for the moment.
Right, on foot. Great. That's great. We can do that. Yeah, okay. And I'll just start scooping all of my books and putting them in my backpack.
Okay. Yeah, what are you guys going to, take with you or leave behind or anything? You know that you're going to go hoof it through swamps here. Does that affect anything?
I am taking my usual gear. It's like an outdoor pack, just camping gear, supplies. Doesn't really change anything for me.
Yeah, I would imagine that the only way Einon travels is ready to hoof it across swamps.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got my bag that has far too much weight from the books, but I don't think I could leave any of them because we might come across something that I need to reference. So
Yeah, I think I'm the only one who's I didn't have much at the Dawn Palace, but whatever wasn't physically on me when we were messing with the clock and stuff, I think I'm leaving here.
Okay. You guys disembark the train and step out into some soft, squishy, marshy ground. There is sort of a thick fog that's just hanging all over the swamps here, all around you. Not like you can't see your hand in front of your face bad, but it's hazy. There's a little bit of vision obstruction as things get further away. And these swamps, these tree lines extend as far as the eye can see. Kade, I think that as Smee disembarks, you notice that his pointy little feet are kind of puncturing through and sinking. He's riding a little low here in the swamps, and his movement seems a little bit hindered overall.
I want to look around and see if there's just either some big pieces of bark, wood, messed up track. I want to see if I can make him some essentially snowshoes.
this is where he rides on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you roll to overcome with crafts? And I think this is fair difficulty, so this will be to beat a 2.
Okay. And am I working on a mechanical object, or I'm really just kind of building something? I'm just making shoes.
You're cobbling.
I don't know. I mean, that's up to you. If you are just making shoes that you rubber band onto his feet versus if you are
Oh, that's
somehow linking his feet to these shoes or whatever.
Yeah. Then I'm going to use files, picks, pliers so I can use my burglary to craft these.
Okay.
6. Derek, one of our listeners, made us some fate dice, and I got 3 blanks and a plus, which is the best I've rolled in this game so far. So nice. Thank you, Derek.
Okay, so a 6 is a success with style, so you get what you want, and you gain a boost. You are able to craft and outfit these snowshoes, swamp shoes, I guess we should just call them swamp shoes,
Yeah.
onto Smee. So he stops riding low. He is able to kind of walk like Legolas on the surface of the swamp.
He's like one of those bugs now on the surface.
Yes! We're all just standing there up to our knees in muck. We're like, cool, man. Make us some.
I would if I could, but you're not mechanical.
I used up all the tracks for this.
And as you are getting Smee outfitted, Einon, I think you are the one to notice motion a little bit further into the swamp. Through some of the haze of the fog, a distance away here, you can see what looks like a small humanoid figure that is kind of bounding from place to place.
Does it seem like it has noticed us?
It doesn't.
I want to creep a little closer and see if I can get eyes on it, see if it's something that I recognize or someone.
Okay.
Before I get too close, though, I was wondering about ads.
All right. I think this is going to be a create an advantage because you are trying to unveil information here. It's going to be with stealth, and I think it's going to be a fair difficulty. You have some environmental stuff working to your advantage, but it is a challenging environment to work within anyway. So you're going to be trying to beat a 2.
All right. I don't have stealth, so I'm rolling flat here.
Interesting.
Yeah, it didn't come with any of those things that I thought would help, but that for hunting, that you would think.
Yeah, but I guess the ones you picked could be a lot of things other than a hunter.
Yeah, true.
He's so good, he doesn't need to sneak up on him.
Exactly. Well, that's a -1 so far.
Okay. So currently, that's a failure. You could invoke an aspect and do a reroll or add a bonus. You also can invoke multiple aspects on the same roll. You got to spend a fate point per, but if you just wanted to stack aspects and +2 bonuses, you could get it to a success for a couple fate points.
Gotta spend a fate point to make a fate point.
Yeah, I might spend a couple here then, because that'll get me, if I do 2 and can justify it, that'll get me to a 3.
Correct.
I think Experienced Hunter would help me out.
Okay.
And Keen Reactions, that idea of this figure that's flitting around that I'm watching and waiting, and if I think, it's starting to like hear me or something, that I'm able to very quickly like pause or duck or hide behind a tree, etc.
I love that I can tell how much confidence or lack thereof you have in a pitch by how long you spend describing it to me.
I should have been there, but I wasn't, because when I wasn't there, I should have been when I wasn't there.
You're like,
so if you think about it,
you're like Experienced Hunter, naturally. And I'm like, naturally. And then the next one is like 8 paragraphs. I don't think you had that. I don't think you had your heart in that one.
That one's looser, so I feel like I had to.
You have to massage it.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead and spend your 2 fate points, but that will get you to the 3, which is a regular success.
I'll take it.
I don't know if this is how this works, so forgive me. Instead of one of those fate points, can I give him the boost I got and call it like leftovers? That it's just like he's using some of the pieces that I had left over that kind of give you a little bit of floaty time on the water?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so you can have one of your fate points back.
Oh, I'll take it. I'm sticking with Keen Reactions as the one that was used, though.
Whatever. Don't know why you said it like it's a big gotcha at me.
I got you, motherfucker.
Let me hear you explain why again. And hey, if it's not word for word,
you have to spend your last fate point to stay at the table.
I will be checking the tape.
Oh, no.
Okay, so still a 3, still a success. You creep forward enough to see this thing through the fog. And it is a fae. It looks like a young, little, like humanoid. It is wearing sort of a jaunty red cap, and it's got kind of like rosy cheeks. You can see that there are insects flying around, and it is just kind of hopping from place to place, like trying to catch them in 2 hands. And it's just like, tee-hee, ha-ha, like bounding after these what look like locusts and just trying to get hands on them and giggling if it catches one.
Do I recognize this particular brand of fae?
It looks like some sort of gnome. Looks a little baby gnomish.
I love gnomes.
Yeah. I mean, not exactly like a WoW gnome.
Yeah, I know.
More like a garden gnome.
Sure, I still love.
Okay.
It isn't a coppercog, is what he's saying, so it's okay.
Yeah. Do I know anything about gnomish temperament and like their, tendencies when they deal with we humans?
What a perfect question. The aspect that you unveil with your create an advantage is hot-headed. They are not inherently hostile, but they are quick-tempered. If you do get on their bad side, it's easy to do. But they are not going to inherently be angry, hostile, or violent. And you get 1 free invoke on that as well.
All right. I think for the moment I'm just going to backpedal. I'm going to backtrack to the group as Kade is finishing up work on Smee. Well, we've got a gnome ahead.
What's that?
Oh, they're
Gnomes. This is something I've never had to break down to smaller terms.
They're little fellows. This one looks young. Seems to be playing a bit. They do have a tendency to get angry quickly, but only if provoked. They're not just violent all the time or anything like that.
Did you ask it where the movement core is?
No. I didn't want to disturb its playtime at the moment. Not yet, anyway, until we were all appraised of the situation.
Okay, well, how do you stay on its good side?
Oh, I think that's going to be different from gnome to gnome. I think this one seems to be playing. If we keep a lighter air about us, stay playful, maybe give gifts, things like that, we might be able to get something out of this.
Kade looks around like a gift, like,
Yeah, and weirdly, half submerged, you see like a wrapped, it's got a nice bow on it. You don't know what's inside, though. Got to gamble.
Because if you open it, he's going to know.
He's going to
that
know,
you
and
rewrapped it.
that'll piss him right off.
I don't know. I mean, I keep my trail rations. I always have a few sweets in there as well.
Oh, I'm so excited. I've not actually met a gnome before.
Maxine, darling, might I take a look at the map? I am curious where we are at this moment in conjunction to what was circled in the swamps.
Yes, of course. And I'll unfurl the map and like lay it out across me so that we can all see the path.
Yeah, so like how much trekking do I think we'll have to do here, kind of coordinating where the track meets the edge of the swamp here versus what Hector kind of indicated the area to be.
So Hector drew a pretty large circle on this one. You know, he was not sure where exactly in the swamps it was. On foot and like moving kind of slow with the terrain here, I think you get the impression that you're probably in for a camping trip here. Like there's probably going to be at least a day, if you're doing well, of trekking before you find what you're looking for.
Okay. All right, we've certainly got our work cut out for us, but yes, if we find at least a hint even of where it might be located, then that might cut down a bit of time. Oh, and I just like lift up the map off of Smee and smile over at Kade. Might also be worth keeping on deck, giving the little fellow a ride.
Oh, like out of here?
Oh, no, just on a what do you call these, automaton?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Something playful.
Well, if it's young, maybe its parents are around. We probably don't want to take it too far, right?
Oh, no, yes, of course. I just would like to not try to sneak around and make it seem like we're doing any sort of devious hunting in, their area.
Well, yeah, maybe if we got to go that direction, we just make a little bit of noise as we go.
Yes. And I am, like, very specifically, like, keeping my bow holstered and, like, everything just back and out of my hands.
I roll the map back up and put it in my bag. Okay, let's get going.
Yes, let's. And I'll head back that way.
You get further out than you had when you snuck up on it, before it does seem to notice you. Its attention turns in your direction, and you hear it let out a little giggle, and it starts, like, hopping y'all's way. And it says,
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how you doing? Look, if you're going to want to get through this swamp here, it's going to cost you. What kind of sweets you got? No, it says, visitors, a challenge.
Oh, hello there. Good day, and what kind of challenge exactly?
A challenge for you or a challenge for us?
Ooh.
A challenge of both, a game of skill. It reaches up and takes off its red cap and kind of throws it down and puts its hands on its hips and says, catching locusts.
Oh.
I didn't read about this. Did we make it angry already?
No, I don't think so. I think this would be a lovely challenge, wouldn't it?
Take Einon's hat and throw it on the ground. He accepts.
Yes. Yes, I suppose I do.
The little Fae picks up Einon's hat and puts it on its head, and it kind of drops around its head. It's way too big. And it giggles, and it takes off Einon's hat and puts it on Smee, and grabs its own hat and shakes it out and puts it back on its head.
All right. Do we have a time limit, or how does this work?
Yeah, what exactly are the rules and regulation of this game? Are we capturing a certain amount? Is it a certain amount of time? Is it whoever gets to a certain amount of them first?
Oh, yes, like first to 10?
Is it by the quantity or just by the overall volume? Or do bigger locusts count more than smaller locusts?
I want to kind of size him up to see if this is upsetting him.
Okay.
Like all this rules talk.
Okay. I don't think I need you to roll this one, knowing that he's hot-headed, like that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
You don't see him getting angry. In fact, I think you see him like, in like anime when somebody's eyes are like glittering because they're so pleased. It's like his eyes are extra big and like glistening as he listens to like how into the idea of the game you all are. And then he becomes like overwhelmed and just kind of like tips backwards and falls on his back in the swamp. Like his brain can't process all of it. It doesn't make him mad. He loves it. He just can't handle it.
Perfect.
And you can see Maxine is like, she's not asking the gnome these questions. She's not speaking to anyone in particular. She's just like, her eyes are looking this way and then that way. And it's just pondering like what could possibly be the constraints of this. And she's just looking more and more concerned.
As he's slowly falling backwards, you're just leaning into him talking.
Yeah. I'm just like realizing the amount of information we don't have.
He sits back up with like his two little legs kind of splayed out, like his hands on the ground in front of him. And he says, "Too many numbers, too many questions. First to 3 wins, go!"
And I sprint. I am off. I jump over him.
So this is going to be a contest. A contest is a little different in that you are on opposite sides. You're on different sides of a situation. Like you're in opposition to this Fae, but you're not trying to hurt each other. You are both kind of trying to parallelly achieve similar things. It'd be like if you were in a foot race, or if you were both trying to get to the same, well, it's what this is. If you're both trying to get to the same thing at the same time,
Sure.
who gets there first, that's your contest. So I think that Einon, you're going to start this exchange because you were very clear about like, fucking, I'm going instantly. Like you were ready for that. We do need to establish who's on whose side here. So if all of you are trying to catch locusts, you're all kind of on your own side. You can each do like an overcome action in each exchange. But if some of you are on the same team, like if you're all just trying to support one person getting the locusts or whatever, you're all on the same side. The rest of you can create advantages to assist that person in their overcome actions when the time comes. So how do we think this is operating? As the Fae calls this contest into action, what are you all doing?
Well, yep, I'm definitely going for the locust. I don't think I'm supporting either of these two. I'm doing the goal here.
And I'm not about to try and catch bugs, so I will do what I can to help Einon.
Yeah, same.
So that'll put the 3 of you on one side. So these locusts are buzzing all around you guys. They're pretty big. They're like palm-sized, like big fat bugs.
Ew.
Yeah. And they are naturally like darting away from you guys. Some of them are taking flight. Some of them are landing on the ground and trying to jump. But they are just chaos incarnate, bouncing around here, trying their damnedest to keep away from you all. Kade, are you trying to set up an advantage for Einon here?
I am.
What form does that take? What are you doing?
I think I am trying to move in a way that causes Locust to jump at him instead of away from him. Like make a bigger sound, more noise, motion.
Okay. How are you going about that? Like what skill do you think you're utilizing?
Is this provoke?
I think provoke is specifically social. They refer to it as the being a jerk skill. So I think it is about like words and agitation and getting somebody's dander up. And not necessarily words, but like you're not going to piss off the bug,
Okay.
And provoke is not scaring or startling.
I see. So I can't like provoke an animal to attack.
Maybe, but probably not a locust.
Okay. Then fight? Can I use my wrench and like swing it around?
Sure. Yeah, I think that like you are creating a danger that they want to avoid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that. So let's roll to create an advantage with fight. And again, there's a bunch of them, and like this has just started. I don't think this is exceedingly difficult right now, so we'll go for a 2.
6.
Nice.
All right. So you succeed with style. So this will create an aspect with 2 free invokes, and let's call it routed. Maxine, what are you up to?
I'm going to climb up on top of Smee and get a higher vantage point and look for them as they're hopping about and kind of call them out to Einon.
Doing a bit of Overwatch.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think this will be a create an advantage with notice against the same difficulty, a 2.
All right. And I have a +3 to notice. That's a 4.
Another success with style, another advantage with 2 free invokes, and we can call that one Overwatch.
Oh, Einon, over here. There's a whole bunch of them swarming that way.
Got it?
All right, Einon, I feel like this is probably an athletics.
I'll take it, yeah. I literally think as I've leapt into action, I've swiped my hat back off of Smee, and I am just bounding in the direction that they are, like, corralling the bugs and, like, calling them out, like, jumping root to root if I can, to just make a big leap in the air with my hat as, like, the net to try to get as many of them as I can.
Now, let's divert for a second. I don't feel like I was aware that Einon wore a hat until Kade said he ripped it off his head. What sort of hat do you wear?
It's like the, wide brim hat with like the one side pinned up.
Okay,
Yeah.
I do remember you saying that. I was picturing the character art in which
That's
you
fair.
are hatless.
There is no hat in the art. That's true.
Okay. All right, so roll to overcome with athletics. I think you are trying to beat a 3.
Okay.
There was a hat. We had to remove it because he looked too smoldering, peeking out from under it.
Yeah. That is a 6.
That is a success with style. Now I need to roll for this beautiful little Fae and see whether he outpaces you. So he is also going to try athletics to capture a locust. He also got a 6.
Can I still use one of these advantages?
Sure.
I will use one of the routed to grab one that Kade had corralled for me.
Okay. The Fae is going to invoke one of his own aspects to keep up the arms race. Swamp-wise.
What?
You want to invoke any more? Try and break that tie?
Yeah, that's what they're here for. I'm going to use Overwatch to bump it up again.
Okay. In this exact situation, I don't think he has anything else that he would utilize or be able to utilize against you. So that'll make you the victor.
Woo!
With a single victory here, you have caught 1 locust, to the Fae's none. And we move into the second round of our contest. Kade, Maxine, what, if anything, are you doing?
How does the Fae feel about this?
Good question. To what end?
We know that this thing is hot-headed. It can get angry. So I want to see if it thinks this is unfair, so I know whether to, help it or hinder Einon to make it more fun. Is the way past this guy or get him to help us to keep him happy, not necessarily to win the contest?
I see. So I think this could go a couple ways. If this is still in pursuit of assisting Einon, even if it's not helping him win the contest, helping him catch locusts doesn't necessarily have to be you're driving locusts into his hand. It could be putting on a show for this Fae so that it doesn't think this contest is imbalanced or whatever. That could still be in his favor.
Oh, okay.
In which case this could be just your create an advantage on this turn for your team that Einon could invoke. Or if you want to kind of do this for yourself because you might jump into the contest and try to catch locusts yourself for real, we might need to kind of put you on your own team here. And then you still could create your advantage to reveal something about this Fae and then do your own action to catch a locust.
I feel like it'd be the first one. What Kade has in mind is I don't need to take part in the contest as much as do I need to stop helping or hinder to make sure that it stays fun.
So I think this will be create an advantage with notice because you're just trying to observe how this Fae is behaving. So I don't it's not really concealing anything. I don't know if this is going to be super tough. I think it's going to be a little harder than the locusts. I think you're going for 3 here.
Okay. 2, but I think I want to invoke the hot-headed because that's what I'm looking out for.
Okay.
To see is he starting to get upset about this?
Yeah, he tips his hand. All right. Yeah, so as you are watching, you see that he does seem, I'm going to use the word agitated. Not angry exactly, but agitated by the fact that so far Einon's getting the better of him. But there's a little kind of twinkle in his eye about it. And I think the aspect you uncover here is troublesome Fae. He's not explicitly angry, but he is probably going to try and fuck around here to make sure that he doesn't lose. And that will come with 1 free invoke because it was just a standard success, not with style.
Okay.
Maxine, what are you going to do?
Well, I'd like to scare some bugs.
Okay. What form do you think that takes?
First, I take a headscarf and I wrap it around my hair to protect it from the bug's legs getting caught in my hair. And then I think I would just kind of run at some grass and wave my arms around in a wild fashion to try and corral them in jumping all kinds of ways.
Okay.
I think I saw Kade do his stunt at first and I am kind of at a loss. And so I'm okay, I can do this. I can convince these bugs to hop.
Okay. What skill do you think this is? I don't feel like this is really fight because you're not swinging a weapon or a threat at them.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt them. I just want to confuse them. I would say provoke sounds like the term I would use, but I know that in this game that skill is specifically said to be socially provoking people. My argument would be deceit in the concept of manipulating someone into doing something they wouldn't normally do. And even though I think deceit does sound like it would be more of a social thing, I'm thinking of it triggering their fight or flight instinct, tricking them into thinking they need to run. No.
Well, I feel like I have the same feelings about deceive that I do about provoke. Deceive is about lying and misdirecting or bluffing.
Misdirecting sounds exactly what I want to do.
It seems to me like the thing you're trying to deceive would have to have some degree of higher thought to, like, be deceived. You know, like, it's not like... It doesn't seem like it's believing a lie to me exactly.
On a base level, it is.
I would say the same thing for provoke. Like, I'm provoking it to jump.
I'm going to throw a whole wrench in the cogs here, that I'm thinking about the same thing even with somebody that is a thinking being, like on the football field, somebody going for a juke. While that is deceiving and or provoking, it's still athletics. Like,
oh my God,
it's still,
Tass, no.
It's still doing a physical motion to make someone think that they are reacting in a physical way, a certain way, and then
You're the worst.
being fast enough and athletic enough to continue that maneuver. Just saying.
In that element, it feels like there's still that deceit, because you got to do it convincingly enough for them to buy it.
Yeah, that's sort of like a hybrid of, like,
Yeah.
you got to deceive them and you got to pull it off.
Yeah, if I have a ball in my hand and I pretend to throw it so that my dog goes and chases it, if I don't do it convincingly enough, he's just going to keep looking at me because he knows I didn't actually throw it.
It seems like you need some real athletic commitment to that then.
Oh, man. Okay.
Can I sell you on lore?
I think I can come around to deceive and therefore also provoke. Rev, I'm sorry I told you couldn't do provoke. I understand what both of you are saying, and I think it's just like maybe the difficulty is very low because they're not thinking creatures,
Sure.
but like maybe also the payoff. Well, I mean, the payoff is what it is in create an advantage. It's just something with invokes.
Yeah.
Like if it was an overcome, I'd think like maybe the payoff just isn't that great because like they're not thinking. They're just
Yeah.
dumb little bugs. All right, I accept. Rev, would a provoke have made a difference on the one you did? Where you
No,
did
I
fight
still
instead?
got a full success.
Yeah, with style.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, mea culpa.
I appreciate that.
Next time I'll let you.
Next
provoke
time
a
I'll
bug.
I'll provoke an animal.
All right, Maxine, create an advantage with deceive, and I think you're trying to beat like a 1. Like
Oh, what if you instead of deceive, what if you do entomology?
use your entomology
Oh.
skill. It's like it
Yeah.
was made for this.
Yeah.
How'd we forget about that?
I don't understand what the origin of words has to do with this situation.
That might be my favorite joke of all time. People keep confusing etymology and entomology, and it bugs me in ways I can't put into words.
Oh, that's good. And I have a +2 in deceive.
I hope that somebody listening to this, I give you permission to tell me if this is remotely the right way to go
Yeah,
about
I
this.
hope somebody is out there is going like, oh my God, you fools, it's this skill. And then let us know what that skill is.
Maybe, because we have discovered that we don't have access to all the fate skills in the list
Yeah.
we were given in Clockwinders.
That's true.
Fair.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
4.
Okay, that's a success with style. An aspect with 2 free invokes. Call it frazzled bugs. Einon, that brings us to you. Any different strat here, or still just hopping and weaving and hatting some bugs?
I'm going to catch them bugs.
Okay, overcome with athletics. Call it a 3.
I got a 0 on the die, which is still a 4.
All right, he is going to do the same. He got a mere 2. He doesn't want to lose to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's going to spend another fate point to invoke something. I think as he hops up after one of these locusts, in midair you see him shapeshift into a giant crocodile
God.
and try and snap at it with his jaws instead. So he's going to spend a fate point to invoke giant croc shapeshifter
All right.
to get him to the tie.
Nice. Overwatch.
Okay. Oh, do I want to spend that last point? And does he have anything else to use? You've got it'd be so dumb for me. I know that, like, tactically it would be stupid for me to spend another one because you can just outspend me until this is over. But I feel like he'd try his damnedest.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to burn your resources. He's going to spend his last fate point to invoke Swamp Wise again to try and come back up and tie you.
Then I want to use Troublesome Fae in the way of, like, seeing him do this. And even though I want to continue my forward motion to get the bug, to get the point here, I also want to, like, grin at this display of magic and yell at him like a phenomenal old boy, well done, and, like, be encouraging of that dope move he just tried.
All right, so that is another victory to Einon. That puts you at 2 locusts to the poor Phase 0.
Woo!
How are you rooting against him? He's adorable.
He's a crocodile.
He's a sad, but he's got those rosy cheeks.
He's a crocodile wearing a red cap.
Yeah, the cap persists.
Oh, it better.
Yeah.
But now he's a crocodile in ankle-deep water that we can't see anymore.
Oh, no.
Nah, he's still got his little snoot poking out.
Okay.
Yeah. You can see him. That brings us back around to the top of the next round. Kade, Maxine, what, if anything, would you like to do in creating advantages? Or just like suddenly entering the contest on your own behalf and trying to crush Einon into the dirt?
I think I'm trying to get up a tree because now there's an alligator in the water.
A crocodile, please.
Sorry.
So not necessarily creating an advantage, just covering your own ass.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think there's a rule for that one.
I'm suddenly on my own team.
You hop up a tree. You're safe.
Boy, I think I am the same. This thing turns into a crocodile, I get on Smee's back.
Okay. Well, no additional advantages for Einon on this one, but one last catch.
I'm sure going to try.
Sorry, you drove him to this, so.
I'm going to raise the difficulty a little bit.
Okay.
Because there are fewer locusts and they are wise to the bullshit here. So you're trying to beat a 4.
Oh, that's abysmal. I can almost not get worse than what I just rolled. So can I spend a fate point and use my keen reactions in this moment to re-roll?
Oh, to do a whole reroll, yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you get?
Well, with my +4, I ended up at a 1.
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Way better. So I'm starting out at a 6.
Okay, that is a success. Let's see if the little Fae can match. He got a 2, and he's all out of fate points to try and bump that up. I imagine that this is like in Space Jam when they run on the Monstar's face to dunk over their head.
I think what I do is I leap up to grab the last one, and I quote-unquote trip over a root, and I fall like right down right in front of his face with the locusts in my hands like presented to him.
Okay. The Fae comes back down from another failed snap and like splashes down into the swamp in croc form, but as it comes back up out of the muck, it is back in its little gnome form. And you land in front of him and hands full of locusts, and he looks at them with just a face full of glee and smiles, and then just grabs them all in his hands and eats all of them at once. And he's just smiling, satisfied with himself, and he swallows and goes, ah, and beams down at you lovingly. And I think that is where we will leave it for this week.
Aww, with a delicious snack.
Yep. Thank you for joining us. If you would like any additional information on the game or the setting, you can find that in the show notes. If you are interested in further supporting the show, please check out our Patreon at patreon.com/thecritshow. We have hundreds of hours of additional content. We have a couple of completed shows. Huh?
I was echoing you.
I thought you were trying to get me to stop. I was like, oh no, did we delete everything?
Hundreds. I was being your hype man.
No, it's only 99. Shut up. No, it's definitely more than 99.
Yeah.
And if you donate, you can get your name read out at the end of the show, just like Emma Cohn-Roddy. Thank you so much for donating. That is it for us this time. Tune in next time for another episode of the Clockwinders. Everybody say bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
The Crit Show is a Critshow Studios production, edited and produced by Brandon Wentz, with music by Jake Purley. You can find more information about us at thecritshowpodcast.com. To keep up to date with upcoming live shows, contests, and other special events, follow us at The Crit Show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For even more weekly content, join us at patreon.com/thecritshow.